Coming up on Legislative Review, we take a look at what's coming up in the legislature and opening day ceremonies. Plus, a House bill aiming to limit rent increases. From Olympia, this is Legislative Review. Thanks for joining us on the opening day of the 2025 legislative session. In this year's long session, state lawmakers will be looking at making new policies for the next 105 days concerning issues across the state that need to be addressed. These will vary from housing to workforce, taxes, environment, education, and more. They're also tasked to approve a new budget that will cover transportation, operating and capital, or state construction costs.
So ordered.
The 2025 legislative session kicks off Monday, January 13th. It's packed at the state capitol. 147 state lawmakers from every corner of Washington gather in Olympia for the next 105 days. Here's a look at the first week.
That I will uphold the Constitution.
That I will uphold the
During opening ceremonies at noon, the swearing in of dozens of state legislators, many of them holding office at the state capitol for the first time. Democrats control both the state House and Senate by significant margins. On Tuesday, outgoing three-term Governor Jay Inslee delivers his final State of the State address to a joint session of the legislature. Inslee leaves office as the 23rd governor, the only second three-term governor in the history of the state, next to Dan Evans. On Wednesday, Governor-elect Bob Ferguson will deliver his inaugural address at another joint session of the House and the Senate, followed by the Republican perspective on the 2025 legislative session.
Calling us back into executive session.
All that plus a full week of committee hearings. For over 3 months, state lawmakers will be debating many policy bills this year. The Capitol was packed, and the energy was palpable.
O'er the ramparts we watched
As the 2025 legislative session kicked off. Existing and newly elected legislators were welcomed to both the House and Senate floors during Monday's opening ceremonies.
You're going to like it here. This is a special place and, of course, a privilege to occupy. You are part of a small and important group of people determining important things, trying to do your best to elevate the condition of your neighbors.
In the Senate, Lieutenant Governor Denny Heck shared a few words with state senators and some personal anecdotes.
Your vote is the same as mine, has the same value as mine. Here we're all equal, and here you're all equal. Regardless of majority, minority, philosophy, every one of you has the same power in your vote. You have an important job. A very important job. And you're not a very important person. The power that you do hold, you only hold in trust on behalf of those who have sent you here. I trust that you will remember that.
Please raise your right hand, say aye and state your name.
State senators were sworn in.
Right hand and repeat after me. Aye.
In the House, members of the House of Representatives were also welcomed in a similar fashion. State Supreme Court Justice Stephen Gonzalez led the oath of 98 state representatives.
And that I will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties of the office of a Washington State Representative to the best of my ability.
The vote for the next House Speaker was between longtime Speaker of the House Democrat Lori Jenkins and Republican Drew Stokes-Berry.
Barnard. Berg.
Jenkins.
Mr. Chief Clerk, there are 58 members in favor of Representative Jenkins, 39 members in favor of Representative Stokes-Berry, 1 excused.
By your vote, you have elected Representative Lori Jenkins, Speaker of the House of Representatives.
that I will faithfully and impartially
discharge the duties of the office
discharge the duties of the office
of Speaker of the Washington State House of Representatives
of Speaker of the Washington State House of Representatives
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
So much.
House Speaker Jenkins then addressed the floor.
This is the 6th time I've had the honor of giving remarks on the opening day of session. This surprises me. And just at how many years it's been. We can be proud of our historic investments.
In her speech, Jenkins counted what she considered as the past successes of the legislature in areas such as affordable housing, childcare, labor, and law enforcement, among others. She also touched on the challenges state lawmakers will be anticipating for the next 105 days, including a $10 billion state budget deficit, something that sparked talks about possible new taxes this year.
Inflation has increased in the costs of building our housing, operating our schools, and providing health care and other services. Families in every corner of our state are feeling the cost of living within their budgets, and we're feeling the same budget pressures too. Despite our strong economy, we're working with less expected revenue while trying to do more for our people.
To this, Jenkins said state legislators would have to look at the budget and how priorities will be funded.
We'll protect the investments that we've made to help working families and have a balanced budget. That's what our constituents expect of us. We'll scrutinize our spending, and we'll look at revenue options that are balanced, fair, and move us toward a less regressive tax structure. Washington's growing population means that there is more demand than ever for things like housing, education, health care, child care, services that people expect and deserve in this state.
All right, as everybody's getting settled, we will call the Day 1, January 13th edition of the Housing Committee to order.
The House Housing Committee held a public hearing Monday afternoon about a bill concerning rent. House Bill 1217 aims to limit rent and fee increases to 7% for a 12-month lease and prohibit rent and fee increases during the first year of a tenant's lease. Newly constructed dwelling units, mom-and-pop rentals, low-income housing, public development, and nonprofit housing are all exempt from the bill. Democratic Representative Emily Alvarado sponsored the bill. She said a record number of Washingtonians spend 50% of their income on rent.
People are getting crushed by rising rents. Hardworking families see rents go up faster than wages. Seniors see rents go up faster than Social Security. People are making impossible choices while paying more to their landlords. Washingtonians are asking for our help to rein in unjustifiable costs and make it easier to live, raise a family, and retire with dignity, and that's what this bill does.
Supporters say the bill is a balanced policy that prevents excessive rent increases while allowing landlords to raise rent and invest in the property while still making a profit.
My last residence of 7 years, I was given 60 days notice for a $900 rent increase, which at the time would have been 69% of my income. I was really anxious this year about a new lease, but my landlord's actually going to sell and will not be renewing my lease. So now I have to come up with first last deposit, which is generally a month's rent, and to make 2.5 to 3 times the rent, and I'm a social worker.
Those opposed, however, argue that 1, solving the housing crisis depends on increasing housing inventory, not limiting rent, and 2, that the cap on rent should be increased past 7%. In opposition, Andrea Smiley of the Building Association of Washington.
All of the costs that go into renting out a house and being a landlord definitely over that 7% cap. I think I was looking at about 18% when you look at increase of property taxes, 11% when you look at HOA fees, and then more increases when it comes to water and sewer costs. Thank you.
Olympia-based landlord and real estate broker Tanya Hanin said that as a mom-and-pop landlord, the 7% cap covers her increasing costs.
Homeowners benefit from the creation of a local safety net of neighbors. Kids stay in their schools with friends and teachers who know them. Their mortgage payment is largely predictable. Renters have a hard time accomplishing this stability, particularly with Washington's dire housing shortage. I've experienced ups and downs being a landlord, and I think we all know it's not a piece of cake. But dealing with those challenges pales in comparison with the life-upending curveballs that renters can face when rent and fees for their home spike and drive them into a sudden move.
Voicing his opposition, Morgan Irwin of the Association of Washington Business said the state's housing supply situation needs to change.
We have a massive undersupply in Washington State. The members at Association Washington Business are extremely concerned that this bill will have the opposite effect of what we need. We need supply. We need to encourage people into Washington State to invest, and we think this bill won't do that. We think it'll have the opposite effect.
To watch the full hearing on demand, as well as gavel-to-gavel coverage of the 2025 legislative session, log on to tvw.org. And that's a wrap for this episode of Legislative Review. Join us nightly at 8 and 11 to keep up with what's happening in the state legislature.